Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. We're going to have a conversation about how you go from zero to actually having a desktop up and running with Amazon Workspaces Core and Workspot. My own name's Ivan Omani. I'm from AWS. I'm one of our senior product managers here in the user computing space. And joining me today is Charlie.
Yep, Charlie Vong, here at Workspot, Principal Solutions Architect. Been here over 9.5 years, so happy to be here.
Fantastic. Now, over the last year, we've been working together to kind of bring this solution out to as many customers as we can in the market. And we've kind of heard two consistent things. This is complex to set up, any kind of VDI in the cloud, and it can be expensive to run a POC. So today we're going to try to dispel those myths. I think the first thing we're going to talk to is what actually is Workspot. So Charlie, you want to give us a little walkthrough on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So Workspot is essentially a single pane of glass where IT admins can manage, provision desktops and applications on various cloud platforms, so including Workspaces Core, and also if you want to extend that to on-prem.
I think one of the things we want to call out up top here as well, because we mentioned costs already, is at the moment we are running a promotion where you can run a free pilot of Workspaces and Workspot for 200 licenses for 30 days. So this is something really kind of kickstart your testing in POC. And to learn more, just scan the QR code there and register for the free pilot. And without further ado, let's dive into what we're going to cover today. So Charlie, you want to walk through the 5 steps?
Yeah, for quick steps for deploying Workspot on Amazon Workspaces Core, the first steps involve setting up the Workspot control account. Second is the integration between control and Workspaces Core. Obviously, you'll need a Windows client OS, so configuring a template/bundle. Fourth, set up a managed gateways. This will provide secure access for your Workspot users, your Workspaces users. And then lastly is to set up the VDI pool for your desktops.
Awesome. And obviously, as we walk through here, there's going to be a few prerequisites we don't touch on. So, for example, setting up a VPC or enabling BYOL, bring your own license, or bring your own protocol for Workspaces Core, or having Active Directory set up. So we're not going to cover that today, but I think right now we're going to dive right in and walk through what does it take to set up Workspot Control.
So because Workspot Control is multi-tenant in the cloud, to sign up, all you need to do, Ivan, is navigate on a browser to Workspot Control sign up page. Insert your information, your first name, your last name, your email, and your company name. And what's happening right now, you're being sent a link to set up your first control admin account.
So very much like most other applications, you get that registration link and then you're back in here.
Yep, absolutely. So now you're at the registration page. We're going to ask you for some information like your title, your company name, phone number, agree to your agreement. Once you do that, you'll be pushed to our dashboard page. So for our initial setup, we can support different type of authentication methods, Active Directory, Info ID, but in this case, we'll select Active Directory.
Makes sense. Most customers use that, so.
Yeah, absolutely. The second setup, initial setup that we require for Workspot Control is to set up the licensing for the name users. So in our case here, just to simplify things, we're just going to directly assign the first admin account as a named user.
Got it. So this is usually the person who's doing like that initial setup. Maybe you're the one running the POC.
Correct. So now we'll go to, so now that's Workspot Control. And now we can move on to the integration portion.
Perfect. So with that, what we're going to do is jump into IAM in our AWS console here. We're going to show you the console here, but we're actually going to walk through some of these commands on the command line because that's very much how we see a lot of our users actually interact. And what we're going to set up here is that integration. And how we're going to do that is via an assume role setup. An assume role means the Workspot control agent can come in, assume a role within our account, and then take actions on our behalf. So you'll see a couple of different JSON files here as we walk through this kind of trust policies and management policies with something like the ARNs, which is Amazon Resource Names, blanked out. And what we're basically going to do is we're going to upload these into our Cloud Shell. So you see the Cloud Shell below here, and that Cloud Shell is essentially your command line in the cloud. So you don't have to install anything on your local laptop or your data center. All our CLI, everything's all set up and ready to go there. So once you've uploaded these JSON files, and we'll make these available afterwards as well, what we're basically going to do is via that command line, invoke some IAM commands. Now, might be a little small to see here, but we'll send these through after. And first, what we're going to do is create that role and say, this is the role we're going to allow someone to come in and assume to take actions on our behalf on our Workspaces core instances. Once that role is kind of set up, we're going to set a policy on it. And these policies are going to say, hey, what can you or can you not do as you go through here? And in this world, we're really talking about just managing those Workspaces core instances. We're also going to have some EC2 access in there. We're going to have some access around your directory services. So you'll see us adding a couple more policies, attaching it to that role. And then once you've that done, really on the AWS side, you're all set and you're back into control, Workspot control.
Yeah, from the Workspot control side, all you need to do is to go into a public cloud configuration, provide some type of name for it to help you identify it. So once you start provisioning desktops, you know which Workspaces core deployment that you want to deploy this on. Provide an account number, provide a role ARN, a region, and then you're ready to go.
Awesome. I think at that stage, let's start getting an image built, really. So I think here
go ahead.
I was going to say over to you to kind of dive in what that Windows template is.
Yeah, to set up a Windows template on Workspaces core on Workspot. The really first step, once you have the EC2 instance deployed, you want to log into it, download the latest Workspot agent, install it, and basically register this template to Workspot control.
Got it. So what we're seeing here is all these commands are actually running on a Windows 10 EC2 instance that maybe you've imported your base image to, or you might have picked a fresh one to kind of work from, but this is your starting point.
Correct. Yeah, so you're ready to upload it to S3, some type of VHD, something that's some type of custom image, maybe your corporate image, and we just need to launch it in EC2 so we can register it to Workspot control. So here, we're just specifying your control admin account along with credentials. And this is going to be the piece where the agent, the Workspot agent, is going to communicate back to control, tell it I'm a valid template for this Workspaces core deployment. Please register me.
Got it. And that admin is the admin we set up in step one, right? That's that same person logging in basically via this. Correct.
So after you do the installation, now it's registered, there's some type of initial setup that we need to do. So the very first step that we'll need to do here is give the Workspot agent configure, the editor, some permissions to the config folder. So we need to make sure that administrators has full access to this folder. And then once we're done with this, we need to navigate to the Workspot agent folder and launch the Workspot config editor. And because Workspaces core does the domain join, there's a lot of things that's happening with the provisioning in the background. All we need to do from a Workspot perspective, a configuration side, is say, don't join this machine to a domain. That's going to be handled by Workspaces.
That's kind of a one-off, right? Once you set up this in your template or your image, like you're not doing this over and over again.
Correct.
Awesome.
I think once you're done with that, that's all the Workspot configuration that you need to do on the actual image itself. And I think as best practice, you always want to kind of run the BYO checker, right? Just to make sure that you won't have any issues.
This is one of the tools we provide from WorkSpaces Core, where just as you're importing it into our ecosystem, we want to make sure that everything is set up for success day one. So this tool is like just a little thing you can run. It'll pop up a screen, and as you click execute, it'll just walk through and check, hey, here's some things we've seen prevent imports in the past. Walk you through what all of those are. Once it all passes, it'll basically say validation successful, and at that stage, that image in EC2 is all set. That is ready to go and get imported into Amazon WorkSpaces Core.
Yeah. So really the next step is to create another AMI with that. So once you have it all checked in once you have the EC2 instance all ready to go, we'll create a brand new AMI image off of this. And we're going to use the WorkSpaces import command here to import it into WorkSpaces.
I think we'll share all these commands after, but really this is kind of one command where we're going to grab that AMI with the WorkSpaces agent on there pre-configured and import that into Amazon WorkSpaces Core. So really what you'll see us doing here, and again, we'll do this in our Cloud shell down here. We'll just copy that AMI. That's what those two little icons work there. We'll call the command, giving us the region of what we're going to import. This is going to take a couple of minutes. So this is where you go get a cup of coffee and maybe come back, because moving around images, it takes a sec. But what you'll see is as that starts to import, when you jump into the WorkSpaces console here, we'll just see this pop up. That status in the middle column is going to flip from pending to available, and your image is all set in there. Once you've got that image in there with the WorkSpace agent on there, then what we're going to do is create a bundle. In our world, what that means is we're taking that underlying OS image and we're bundling it together with what type of compute and what type of memory do you need with that, as well as the storage settings. So you're kind of seeing the console here, we're clicking through and saying this is the type of thing we want to use. And then that's it. Now, this isn't launching a desktop, but we kind of have that bundle all set, and we can go straight over to WorkSpaces or to Workspot control then.
Yeah, in Workspot control, you just need to navigate to the cloud public cloud configuration for WorkSpaces. Go to click register template, search for the template that we just created a bundle for, and click save. So now that template is ready to be provisioned on WorkSpaces Core.
Awesome. And I think once we kind of got that done, I think we've got all the base in there. We're like, okay, we're ready to start deploying desktops, but this managed gateway we want to set up as well. So Charlie, do you want to talk us through like what is this managed gateway and what's the advantage of something like this?
Yeah, so this is going to be the piece that's going to provide secure access to your end users, your external users. So, working from home and such, right? And the beauty of this feature here is that Workspot will provision this automatically and provision and manage. So to do that, all you need to do is go into setup to the gateway configuration and create a brand new cluster. And what this does is tell Workspot control which region you want to provision these clusters to, which availability zone, which subnet, and typically you'll be some type of public subnet, right? Because this is going to provide remote access. Obviously provide security group, allowing the specific ports so your Workspot users can connect to these gateways. We'll configure which Windows Server machine, tell it which class, so the specs of these gateways. So if you're expecting a lot of users, you obviously want to have a higher spec gateway. Provide a name, a cluster name, and tell Workspot control how many instances you want in this cluster. So obviously you always want to have 2 for high availability. If you have a lot more users, you can always spin up additional instances to support that additional use case.
So, and that kind of like sharding in between those different gateways and load balancing traffic and all that, you take care of all that from the client to those gateways then, right?
Yep. Correct.
So I don't have to manage EC2 instances. I don't have to manage anything from like an admin point of view. It's just, hey, give me 2, 3, 5 of these gateways all set up in this region, in this AZ, and let it work from there.
Yep. And because we're using Active Directory as the dedication on these gateways, Workspot control will ask you for domain join details there. So tell us which domain, tell us where you want to provision these gateways to. So some type of OU where you have specific policies.
Yep.
And then just provide.
Touched on earlier, right? That kind of AD setup is probably something you already have today.
Correct. And just provide a service account that has permissions to join these gateways to domain. And then lastly and finally, provide a local admin configuration. So if you need to log into these gateways to do maybe updates, change certificates, whatever you may need to do, you'll use this local admin account.
Got it. And it really is that quick. Like at this stage, we've gateways for authentication, for streaming, everything's kind of all set up, ready to go and provision a desktop.
Yeah, absolutely. So so it's right now it's provisioning the two instance. I think the one instance here, it's going to go into a ready state. Once this gateway is in a ready state, you'll need to enable it because you might want to do some maintenance. You might want to do some maybe potentially updates. And then once that's done, then we'll just need to enable and publish this cluster. So once we do that, it's available for VDI pools to actually leverage to provide the secure access.
Awesome. And that's all done via Workspot control. There's no jumping onto machine or changing anything.
Correct. Absolutely.
Fantastic. So I think at this stage, then, we're ready to actually get a desktop up and running, right?
Yeah. So we have all the pieces ready. We have the gateway, right, providing secure access. We have a Windows 10 template / bundle that's already imported and registered in Workspot control. To configure a VDI pool, you'll need to select which cloud platform. So WorkSpaces Core in this case, obviously.
Yep.
Select the template that we just uploaded.
Got it.
You need to tell which directory services that we're going to be leveraging. So the AD connector that's configured. Provide the VM class. So the specs of the WorkSpaces VDI desktops. The size of the root disk, size of the user disk. Provide a name to identify the VDI pool, the desktop pool.
I guess you could have multiple pools in here, your finance department, your operations, your, whatever else might be there, right?
Correct. And now provide a display name. So this is what your Workspot users will see in their clients. So that's why we have here my desktop, something straightforward, easy to identify.
Got it.
And then obviously, obviously here
populated as well, which is nice.
Yeah. Yes. And obviously here you want to select the gateway configuration.
Got it.
And now,
so this is
go ahead.
No, so this is just tying everything together. Here's your template. Here's your users. Here's your gateways. Here's the whole lot put together. That's what your pool kind of concept represents.
Correct. And then so with WorkSpaces Core, these desktops won't be provisioned until they're actually assigned. So we'll just assign the first desktop to this user here, and you'll see it's gonna start provisioning. So we can actually check the status here. We go check progress, and it's gonna run through it. So I think in the background we're sending those commands to WorkSpaces Core to provision that desktop.
Got it. And that can take a few minutes. So again, this you're spinning up a brand new desktop. Maybe we'll get a cup of coffee and then come back when it's ready.
Yep. See, now it's in the ready state. So we're actually already to the last step to actually launch, download the Workspot client, and then actually launch this desktop.
Awesome. And out of curiosity, if I didn't want to use like one of the native clients here, could I get to this via the browser as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have a web app client that runs on Chromium. We also have an iOS client, Android client, and a Mac client.
Got it. So your end users really have a choice of like, hey, whatever you want to use or whatever type of machine you have, you can get to this.
Absolutely. So the experience, once you have the client installed, once it's launched, for the very first time when you launch the client, you'll need to enter your corporate email address, essentially validate that you're a valid Workspot user for your company. So this is what's happening here, right? So we're going to actually authenticate this user via Active Directory.
Got it.
Once that's done, all Workspot clients are actually protected by a passcode. So you'll select some type of passcode that will protect your Workspot clients, and then you present it with your Workspot workspace.
Got it. Awesome. And then when we log in first, this is hitting that managed gateway, doing all of our AD connectivity and everything. It's just put in your username, password, and go.
Yeah, absolutely. So exactly what's happening right now. So it's communicating with one of the gateways in the cluster. In our case here, we'll just have one, but it's now connecting to your WorkSpaces Workspot VDI.
Awesome. And I think as we looked through that, like there wasn't a whole bunch of, hey, you got to write a custom script, you got to do this special tweak on this instance or anything. It seemed like, hey, you can just go to Workspot control, get everything kind of configured there, click and launch, and then you're ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was really those 5 easy steps, right? We just need to configure that integration, obviously get a Workspot Windows template imported and registered, and just configure some type of secure access for your end users, and then you're often going with provisioning a desktop pool.
And I guess with that, Charlie, kind of showing how easy it was to get that set up. One of the other big concerns that we alluded to earlier on was cost. So I think we have a deal right now, as we touched on earlier.
Yeah, so we have a free pilot of Workspot on WorkSpaces Core, 200 licenses for 30 days. So if anyone is interested, scan QR code and register for that pilot.
Alrighty, and with that, I just want to say thanks for everyone for listening. You know, as we went through here, we kind of touched on those 5 steps, and I usually it's not as complex or as intimidating as maybe it could seem day one setting up a VDI in the cloud. So I just want to say thanks to Charlie for spending the time and walking through this with us, and it was a pleasure. And it's been great working with you all over the last year.
Yeah, absolutely, Robin. So thank you so much for all the collaboration that we've been doing. It's been great. Thank you.